Alright, okay? So, mathematical method was merely derive the function, tell us the slope is h1, h2, explain h2. But graphical method is to draw. Alright, that you don't know how the LM look like, you draw from the money market to get the LM curve. Okay, this method is more suitable, okay, it's actually more relevant for section B. Okay, I don't really prefer to use this method for section A because it's quite tedious. You have to draw and you have to explain. Okay, so the diagram has been drawn for you. It actually starts on the left, so your vertical line, money supply. The first downward sloping line was money demand. Okay, and you can see your money demand is actually quite steep. Reason because, alright, your H2 was actually small. Alright, that people in the country generally are not sensitive to buy financial assets. So you can see, right, and you can recall, slope of money demand is 1 over H2. Right, so if H2 is small, you will get a steeper money demand, which you see it on the diagram in the left. So you begin with point E1 first. So I'm going to put a bit of numbering in the diagram, okay, but I want to warn you if we look a bit messy. So in other words, you draw your money demand, money supply, right, and they meet at E1 first. So money market will tell us interest rate I1, right? Then what you do is you map this across. You actually mark out I1. Alright, you mark up your I1 with your Y1 on the right. Alright, so this is graphical method. You must map the points. You don't draw the LM yet. You only draw E1 first. Okay? Now, the reason why I don't really like this approach is because students make a lot of mistakes. Okay? Step 2 didn't come from the left diagram. Step 2 came from here. You must let income go up. So this is actually explained in your notes. This is your step 2. Alright, in panel A, the right diagram, should I say, you must let income go up. Okay, so if you let income go up, see carefully, your money demand, okay, will increase. So this is your MD over P2. So money demand will shift rightwards. But you don't go to E2, you actually go to point B first. So it's actually quite tedious. Alright, that's why you don't do it in section A, you do it more for section B answer. So we know money demand exceeded money supply. This is what we did in topic 4 last week. We hold a lot of liquidity in our hands, right? Financial institution will offer us better interest rate. Okay, but H2 is very small. So you must offer us a large interest rate. Okay, alright, which is given here. You need a large increase in interest. That was your step 3. Right, because money demand exceeded money supply. You need to offer us a large interest rate. Okay, then we will buy financial assets. This is our step 4. Our money demand will then drop. Okay, then where is the final adjustment? Here, step 5. So the diagram has been drawn, but I don't want to waste time in lecture to go through with you. I'll put in the numbering, you go back and try yourself. Right, so you need to explain the market. Okay, the market don't go for E1 to E2. It actually go E1 to B first. Then step 3, interest rate goes up. Step 4, we buy financial assets. So if you are not familiar, go back to topic 4. Alright, we've done this in topic 4. Then we end up at I2, step 5. And we bring the interest rate across. This is what happens. You mark out the I2. When do you stop? You will stop only when you meet your Y2. Okay? You will only stop when you meet your y2, then you get your point E2. So it's quite systematic and quite time consuming. And step 6, you join E1 and E2. Then you get the LM curve. So this is called graphical approach. Right? Okay? So to get 2 marks for like that in section A, I think it's a big waste of time. So you don't. Right? Okay? But for those who are aiming to excel in macro, you must know both. Right? You must use both. So in this case, this is a graphical approach showing that if you have a fairly steep money demand, you need a large adjustment in interest rate. Then we will react to buying bonds. And as a result, okay, you could see you will also get a steeper LM. Okay, because your H2 is very small. So graphical approach is useful because you want to see how the slope of money demand has a direct effect on the slope of LM. Okay, so in panel B, which I won't go through already, in this case, your H2 is large. Okay, so the steps are the same. Mark out your E1 in both sectors, trigger income to increase. Put a true point to show you are repeating. The income increase must be the same amount. Right, okay, you might have to extend this line a bit and you will shift to point B. Right, so money demand, very flat. E1 will shift to point B. But the steps are the same. Okay, step 3 prime. Interest rate must go up because we hold a lot of money in our hands. But because we are very sensitive to interest rate, right? The change in interest rate is now very small. You trigger a small change in interest rate, a lot of us will buy financial assets. Our money demand will go down. Step 4 prime. And we'll end up at E2, step 5 prime. Then you bring it across, step 5 prime. Okay, and then join E1, E2, that's your step 6 prime. Okay, and again here you could see if you have a flatter money demand, okay, you will also get a flatter LM. Okay, so that is graphical because it gives you the visual impact. How money demand on the left through the interest rate adjustment gives you the corresponding flatter or a steeper LM on the right. Okay, so graphical approach, remember, it's not just draw. You need to explain the money method. Okay, so make sure you're able to graph it. So go back and try yourself. Okay, use graphical approach. Okay, so the question in the lecture notes was income increase, but now analyze drop in income. Alright, okay, to derive LM curve. Okay, and only to discuss H2 is large. Just do one case will do. Again, prove that if you have a flatter money demand, you will also get a flatter LM. Right, so go back and try out yourself. Okay, so to determine which is the better method for yourself, you have to do it, then you know. Okay, you cannot just say, oh, so tedious, I don't want. You never know actually you are capable of doing. So this is the graphical method. So section A, true false question, you have a choice. But usually section B, they will specify. Right? You need graphical. So if you didn't learn this approach, then in section B, you can't do. Okay, so that was the graphical derivation of the LM curve. Right? Okay, so that was movement. Now move on to page 25. So graphical method is not totally useless. I will use this method to discuss shift of LM in section A.
Okay.
Alright? Okay, I'll summarize for you in a moment. But when do I use graphical method then? I will use it if I want to discuss shift of LM. Why must I use graphical method? Because if I use max method merely tell me vertical intercept of the LM curve, okay, is H0 minus M over P over H2. I cannot go and tell the examiner, oh, M over P change intercept lower. Then there is no analysis, right? There's only maths. The answer is very weak. So for the discussion of shift of LM, I will do graphical method because there was explanation. Okay, so whenever it is in section A, question asked, did LM shift? I don't use maths. I use diagram with analysis. Okay, so let's look at diagram A. I will only do diagram A, you go back and do B yourself. Okay, so this is the vertical intercept. What will change the LM to shift is M over P. H0 is always constant. So if government exercise expansionary monetary policy, we know government actually buy bonds.